Hey, today's episode is brought to you by, I don't know why that choked me up a little bit. Today's episode is brought to you by Sunset Lake Seder. Sunset Lake is a movement sponsor, and that they've been very supportive of the nurses in Worcester who are still on strike, if you can believe it, folks, fighting this Texas hospital conglomerate. They do a lot of work in their community outside of Burlington, Vermont. They use regenerative farming practices, integrated pest management, so no pesticides on their CBD, and they also have great business practices. $15 minimum wage. Most of their employees are part owners of the company. And they have wonderful products that I use. I use their salve with arnica for, it's supposed to be for muscles, but I use it for I use it for my eczema. I have more of that than maybe the muscles. But we'll also see. Big sleep aid for me in the tincture, and they have a CBD tincture, and they also have it with what is it? Melatonin? What is it? Yeah, melatonin.
Yeah, I used it last night actually.
And they have gummy bears, and they have smokables, and they have fudge, and they have hand lotion and coffee. It's great products. All of the information, third party. Gives an analysis of the quality of the product that you're getting. And here is the big news. They have their one-time Left is Best coupon code for 20% off. They're fans of the show, Left is Best. Or because they wanted to Sederize this. In other words, we have lives that are very busy. You like to have things that are habitualized. Well, now you can easily get handcrafted CBD products from Sunset Lake CBD automatically delivered to your door every month with a 25% discount. Maybe you got somebody in your life who has a hard time ordering things, but they enjoy products from Sunset Lake CBD. Well, their new subscription service makes it simple for them to get affordable CBD delivered directly to their door every month. Try it out. SunsetLakeCBD.com. Put the link in the description of the podcast and the YouTube. And now, time for the show.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder, where every day's Casual Friday. That means Monday is Casual Monday. Tuesday, Casual Tuesday. Wednesday, Casual Hump Day. Thursday, Casual Thurs. That's what we call it. And Friday, Casual Shabbat. The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
It is Friday, September 3rd, 2021. My name is Sam Seder. This is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting live steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. On the program today, columnist from Salon.com, proprietor of the Uber blog, Hullabaloo. Heather Parton, or Digby, will be here with us to look back on the week in politics. Also on the program today, Texas abortion ban goes into effect. TikTokers and Redditors take down an anti-abortion tip site in Texas. Meanwhile, Susan Collins hides. Pressure mounts for Supreme Court reform. Federal jobless aid ends in literally hours, maybe a couple of days, leaving almost 8 million people in the lurch without the federal supplement or federal coverage in some instances. Meanwhile, rural Oklahoma hospitals are getting overflowing, I should say, with ivermectin ODs, as Idaho's hospitals are near collapse with COVID cases. 43 people dead in New England in the wake of Ida, including at least 11 people who drowned in their basement apartments in New York and New Jersey. Meanwhile, as 4 nursing home residents die at a Louisiana evacuation site. A lot of extreme weather for some reason. Meanwhile, the Medicaid benefit expansion and age drop are at the heart of a reconciliation fight that's happening right now. Lastly, Kabul airport opens at least partially, allowing some relief to enter into Afghanistan. All this and much, much, much more on today's program. Ladies and gentlemen, just calm down.
Calm down.
Emma Vigeland is here. Emma, just calm down.
I'm fine.
You seem composed. We're gonna do Suns Out, Guns Out today. It's happening. But I made the decision not to subject Digby to this Suns Out, Guns Out. Mm-hmm. I'm a little bit, I got to be honest with you. I have never worn a tank top, right? Mm-hmm. I've never worn one.
You lived in Australia and you never have worn a tank top.
I've never worn a tank top in my entire life. I've never owned one, and
now you do.
I think I have put one on maybe once, like, you know, in some character I played, but as an undershirt. Like, I don't think I ever, and I think it's going to be evident when people can start to see my my arms as to why that's, you know, I'm not someone who's, I just don't feel comfortable with it. I mean, I rolled up the sleeves on a Ken once on a shirt, and that's about it. We're going to do that starting the second half of the show. And at that time, although you can do it now, but we're going to focus on it a little more. We're going to be taking super chats, and we also have a GoFundMe page set up. It's bit.ly/MRAfghan, bit.ly/MRAfghan, and we're going to contribute to 3 organizations that are helping Afghan people resettle. One is ADEP, which is the Afghan Diaspora for Equality and Progress. The other is the International Rescue Committee. And then another organization called PARS Equality Center, which helps with refugees coming in with legal help. And we're going to split it 3 ways. I put down as a goal of $2,000 over at that GoFundMe. Hopefully we'll do even better than that. And we'll figure out some way, maybe every time, somebody donates like $50 or something, mm-hmm. Maybe I'll do a flex. Something like that. I know. This is really going to be rough.
I went to the link and it took me to Time magazine.
What?
I don't know.
Are you serious?
I am.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. Wait.
Okay. Something. Someone just sent it to me. If they could, I want to tweet it out.
It's in the scroll up on the thing.
Oh, okay. All right. My bad.
Yeah, it's MR Afghan. Maybe you're spelling it's bit.ly/MRAFGHAN. Did
Gotcha.
I misspell Afghan?
Maybe, but.
Oh no! Did I?
No. Did I may have. This is good broadcasting by me. I apologize.
All right.
I'll tweet it out for anybody that wants to.
Did I misspell Afghan? Will someone double check that for me, please? All right. In the meantime, the Texas law has gone into effect, and we will go through it a little bit more specifically with a little more specifically with Heather. But let's hear Rich Lowry on MSNBC with Chuck Todd and Claire McCaskill opine about this. I mean, this is the big thing that they're doing now. They're saying this is no big deal because I think, there is, and Heather and I will talk more about this, and Emma will talk more about this too, but if Democrats are smart, they're going to leverage this at least from an electoral standpoint, on top of everything else that needs to be done. But here's Rich Lowry on MSNBC. And why is he on MSNBC?
Well, first of all, people are acting as though Roe has been overturned. I would welcome that outcome, and it may eventually be in this Dobbs case, but it hasn't been overturned yet at all. This is a procedural ruling that clearly was the correct one. There was no harm here yet. The 8 defendants had done nothing. Even in joining them, if that's what happened, wouldn't have stopped this law because their government officials have nothing to do with the enforcement
Pause it for one second.
the law.
Pause it for 1 second. First off, Roe v. Wade and Casey, which is another case which basically says you cannot abridge this right in a meaningful way, have certainly, Roe v. Wade says that you may not, that an abortion is a constitutional right up to 22 to 24 weeks of your pregnancy. Casey made it very clear you cannot abridge this by having sort of knock-on laws. You cannot get an abortion in Texas today. And it's not because it's Labor Day weekend. It's not because it is because the passage and the beginning of this law. And they allowed that to happen. So Roe v. Wade is overturned.
85 to 90% of abortions that happened in Texas were after that 6-week threshold, let alone the bounty system that they put in place. So it's ended it. I mean, at the very minimum, 85% of it is ended, which is clearly a violation of Casey.
And a violation of Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's no harm, well, they are shutting down. Continue.
This law because their government officials have nothing to do with the enforcement of the law. And I tip my hat to pro-lifers in Texas who I don't think anyone should have to find a way around.
Pause it. Government officials have nothing to do with the enforcement of this law. Where do you go to file suit? Who is going to adjudicate this? Private entities, or is it going to be the third branch of our government, and that is the judiciary? Continue.
Nothing to do with the enforcement of the law. And I tip my hat to pro-lifers in Texas who I don't think anyone should have to find a way around Roe. I think Roe is bad law and should be tossed. But in that environment, they have found a way to avoid injunctions on what they want to do and to find a way to restrict abortion, working around Roe. But ideally, Roe goes, and then you have democratic deliberation around the country. Some states it'll be entirely legal. Some states it'll be illegal. Most states will be somewhere in between. And the public opinion question, Chuck, is what are people thinking of when they say most of the time or with some exceptions? Right. I don't think that's been fully probed. I don't think people have really thought that through. In a post-Roe environment, they'd have to.
I wanted to drill down on something, though. You're comfortable with this sort of empowering the public to be some sort of bounty police force here? I mean, it's sort of this is an oddly written law. I mean, imagine if this were done with other issues when it comes to gun restrictions and things like this. I mean, this feels like turning the public against each other.
Yeah, there's some precedent for it. It's obviously entirely different realm, but my understanding, like the False Claims Act has kind of a provision like this. But if Roe weren't in the way, if Roe weren't blocking any significant expression of pro-life sentiment in Texas or in countries around states around the country, no, you wouldn't do it this way. You would just flatly restrict abortion. So a workaround, but it's caused by a distortion from the Supreme Court. There's no right to abortion in the Constitution. The left is just used to using that spurious decision as a way to block democratic deliberation and action on this.
The reason he's like, you can't use the False Claims Act, even like putting I think merits of that aside, you can't use that as an equivalent example because that's about defrauding government programs, which everybody ostensibly benefits from. That's the undercurrent of that, as opposed to just one person getting an abortion. How does that violate anybody else's right who's bringing suit against them? It's so different, but they're muddying the waters purposefully.
The point is that we have some structures like this, but the plaintiffs need to have some actual damage.
Right.
And if you are a taxpayer and the government's being defrauded, that's the damage.
Yes.
There is no equivalent here whatsoever. And anyone can bring suit against anybody who abets an abortion in Texas. Anybody. And you can do it in multiple jurisdictions, and you can sue the same person can be sued by multiple people, and it's a minimum of 10,000. And I'm going to reiterate this with Heather in a second. But right now, in New York and in California and in other states around the country, there better be Democratic lawmakers who are writing up a law that say lawsuits, carry guns, somebody can sue you. Shoot guns, they can sue you. $10,000. First Amendment. If you could abridge a woman's right to an abortion, why can't we abridge the First Amendment? The government's not doing it. I can sue somebody who's saying something I don't like. In fact, I'll sue people for wearing a MAGA hat or cargo shorts or saying stuff, whatever it is. I mean, this better be going on right now in this state and in every state across the country that Democrats control the legislature. Let me flood the Supreme Court. If they're going to start this precedent, do it now. Start the law, pass the law, have it go into effect in a week.
Notice how he hides behind procedure there too.
Of
right?
course,
yeah.
They're really trying to obfuscate this at all costs.
And do you think that if there had been a law like the one that you're describing that goes after gun rights, or God forbid, you can sue any corporation for being an amoral corporation in this country and go after them financially, and you'll get a financial incentive to do it, regardless if you have standing, because it does affect the public welfare. Do you think that the Supreme Court would be like, well, you didn't file with the correct procedures, so we're gonna just, we're not gonna, we're gonna let this law take effect for a little bit until you procedurally follow the right way.
If gun shops were like saying, we're still alive, we're not sure if we're gonna be around in a couple months, though. If you think he'd be saying there's no harm, and
of course, of course, and that's why he wouldn't answer that question directly. And this is they have opened up a Pandora's box, and if the Democrats don't rush in to fill that Pandora's box. All right, going to take a quick break. Today's program sponsored. We got 3 sponsors. Did you know, Emma, that even in your incognito mode, your activity might still be visible to your employer?
No.
Yeah, then maybe your school or your ISP. It's quite possible.
You're my employer.
Exactly. And I just want to put you on notice. I'm realizing during the show, all you're doing is getting the stats from The Bachelor.
I don't know what stats would be
I
available.
don't know either.
But I'll research that during the show.
Listen, if you want to stop people from seeing the sites you visit, you need ExpressVPN. Think about all the times you use Wi-Fi at a coffee shop, maybe at a hotel, or your parents' house. Without ExpressVPN, every site you visit could be logged by the admin of that network. That's still true even when you're in incognito mode. Your home internet provider can also see and record your browsing data and sell that data to advertisers. What ExpressVPN does is it encrypts all of your network data. It reroutes it through a network of secure servers so that your private online activity stays, in fact, that, private. ExpressVPN works on all your devices, super easy. The app has one button. Go to the app, you tap it, you connect, boom, all your browsing activity is secure. iPad, iPhone, computer, super easy. Stop letting strangers invade your online privacy. Protect yourself at expressvpn.com/majority. Use my link, expressvpn.com/majority, to get 3 extra months free. That's EXPRESSVPN.com/majority to learn more. Also, I've told this story several times during the pandemic. I was having toilet paper panic. Kyle tells me I got a bidet, and it's changed my life. And I was like, I don't know if I want to invest in something that's a big investment. Mm-hmm. And then, almost like I manifested it, we heard from Tushy, and they wanted to advertise on the program. And they said, we'll send you a product. And I checked it out. And first off, it's incredibly inexpensive for a bidet. And super easy to set up. You don't need any electricity. You don't need any new plumbing. If you can turn a thing that the toilet seat nut and bolt, and you own a wrench or you're easy peasy. And it turns out I'm never going back. Mm. Tushy is the modern bidet for people who poop.
You're never going back. That's what the water's for.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm never going back there. You just poop, wash, and pat dry. Tushy bidet washes your bum with water for a better clean than toilet paper. And washing with water, it's less irritating, it's more soothing, and frankly, it gets you more clean. The Tushy bidet is easy to install. Like I said, it attaches to the toilet in under 10 minutes. No electricity or plumbing needed. Using a Tushy bidet reduces your toilet paper use by 80%, saving you money. It's eco-friendly, and it is stylish. Start washing with a Tushy bidet for a better clean. Go to hellotushy.com/majority. Get 10% off plus free shipping. This is a special offer for our listeners at hellotushy.com/majority for 10% off. After you buy and install your Tushy, show it off. You can tag at hellotushy on Instagram. Lastly, according to Forbes magazine, gyms, nail salons, hotels, mom and pop stores, and more are set to go on an epic hiring spree in the coming months to meet up the pent demand for all these services. We're in between the different things, but it's tough to find people that you want to hire, particularly now. You may not be going out there as much as you want. Well, you're going to have millions of jobs that are going to be filled over the next 12, 18 months. Where are these businesses turning to fill these roles fast? ZipRecruiter. Right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/majority. Here's what happens. When you post a job on ZipRecruiter, they send your job to over 100 top job sites. It gives you access to their network of millions of job seekers. And then ZipRecruiter's got matching technology that scans the resumes. They find qualified candidates for your open roles, and then they proactively present them to you. They also go out and invite people to apply for your job. And then they've got a great interface. You can easily review recommended candidates. You can invite your top choices to apply for your job, and that encourages them to apply faster. That's how we got Brendan, and sort of as a bank shot, that's how we ended up with Bradley. We got Brendan through ZipRecruiter, and then it's like 2 hires in 1 on that ZipRecruiter. Right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/majority. That's ziprecruiter.com/MAJORITY. Majority, just go to ziprecruiter.com/majority. ZipRecruiter, it's the smartest way to hire. Okay, want to welcome back to the program the columnist at salon.com, the proprietor of the Uber blog Hullabaloo, Heather Parton. Hello, Heather. I'm here with Emma.
Looks like she's trying to connect.
Hey there, I'm here. Sorry about that.
Every time I see you, you got a different backdrop.
Well, I try to keep it lively.
I like this one. I like this one a lot.
I'm a big tapestry person. Is that an elephant?
It is. It is an elephant.
There we go.
An Indian elephant.
So, Heather, we played a clip of Lowry. I can't even remember his first name.
Rich
Lowry.
And
I don't know what there is to say about this ban on abortion, but what I find interesting, and we have a clip of Tucker Carlson doing sort of the similar type of dance. They're downplaying it as if it's not like for real. Just briefly, your perspective on what the Supreme Court did here, because we should be clear. They at first ignored the call to enjoin this law from starting. And then they had a shadow docket. They've done it again. 5-4. They voted without reasoning, essentially, a small paragraph to let it continue because ostensibly there's no harm been done yet, which is just, this reminds me of like when they said, racism is dead. Like it's just ephemeral, right? Like the idea that all of these abortion clinics shut down for no reason, right? I mean, it's just absurd. It's just absurd to me that they get away with this. And even John Roberts, I think, was embarrassed by the whole thing. But this is what it is. What's your sense of this?
Well, there are a couple of aspects of this that are interesting. And what you said is true. And they had several days after, because they didn't do this immediately, of course. They just let the law take effect and stayed silent for a couple of days. And during those days, it was clear what harm was happening. Abortion clinics were not able to perform abortions and they were closing down. And how they could come out 2 days later and say, well, there's been no harm. The harm was right there and obvious as the law had taken place. And the stories of what happened on the night before, with people crowding into the abortion clinics, desperate to get abortions before this law came in. I mean, they're absolutely horrifying. There's one on the 19 that is just heartrending. And it tells you exactly what kind of harm this law is doing to actual human beings. The second part of it, I think, the shadow docket aspect of this is really interesting. And it's something that we talked about a little bit, I think, after the moratorium was overturned by the court on the shadow docket. This gives the court an ability to, to take these really radical sort of stances, just blatantly partisan and political stances, without having to listen to arguments or have any kind of reasoning behind it. They just do it, and it just sort of happens. And in fact, I think Justice Kagan even mentioned this in her dissent on the Texas law. This is getting out of hand. This is not the way it used to be. This is something that they did a lot during the Trump administration, and way more. I think it was like 8 times they'd used the shadow docket during the Bush and Obama administrations combined. And it was something like 41 times they used it during the Trump administration. And they were generally affirming Trump policy. And now we're seeing them generally overturning Biden or Democratic policies. It's very clear what they're using this for. It's for just, simple partisan, achievement. So that is a problem. And, what do we do about that? I don't know. But the shadow docket seems to me like an absurd and bizarre sort of, institutional tactic that really needs to be looked at more closely. And third, I think what you're seeing here is basically the Supreme Court following the lead of the Republican Party, generally speaking, in its endorsement of vigilantism as a way to obtain and maintain power. I don't think there's any doubt about it when you look from January 6th to all the protests that are going on, which are no longer just protests, they're actual intimidation and threats. People coming, I'm bringing 20 strong men into the school board meeting and we will remove you. These people shouting in people's faces, we know where you live, and that sort of thing. This is what's happening. The martyrdom of Ashley Babbitt, the insurrectionist who was shot in the Capitol on January 6th. There is something churning on the right here that is very, very dangerous. And I think what we're seeing is an affirmation by this very conservative, hard right, radical Supreme Court majority that they are tacitly, if not overtly, endorsing this kind of behavior. They have validated a vigilante law in Texas with what they just did. And to me, that sends a signal all over the place. Citizens, go ahead and do what you need to do. And that scares me almost as much as the fact that that Roe versus Wade is essentially overturned, and we are now dealing with a free-for-all all over the country for women specifically, and most especially having to go through incredibly torturous kinds of techniques to try and exercise their fundamental human rights. So I think there's a lot going on here, and I think we're just at the beginning.
Yeah, I agree with that, and we should say, I mean, it almost seems silly even to remark that 15 years ago the Republican Party was running on the frivolous lawsuits and civil litigation.
Remember?
Tort reform, yes, of course. The shadow docket thing is also sort of fascinating to me in the sense that that they're not even bothered. Like it's sort of a moment where they just have decided, like, let's stop pretending that we're using legal reasoning for this anyways, right? Let's just do we really have to write a long brief and take 6 months to do this?
Yeah, just
and
one
discuss
paragraph and drop it at midnight.
I
We're
mean,
all good.
That's the only part about this that I think is at least somewhat clarifying. Like, this is not a court anymore, right? It is like, what would you call it? It's not, a court theoretically like this would be deliberative and would have plaintiffs and defendants there with an opportunity to make their arguments. And this is just more sort of like a star chamber type of situation where they're just basically like, let's just vote up or down, boom, that's it. And we're no longer going to, it's really just a mini legislature, right? Although there's a little bit less debate, it seems like, going on in this instance.
They don't answer to the voters. They have lifetime appointments. So their power is immense. I don't think, you got to think about the fact that these guys aren't going anywhere and there's no appeal on any of this stuff.
What also, strikes me is that if you looked at like some in the left leaning, if you will, center to the left, legal establishment, there is still just sort of like a relentless refusal to accept that this is the reality of the Supreme Court. Right? Where 2 days ago when, you see some of these people going like, well, when they get to this, you'll see this is not going to, it's the same stuff we heard, frankly, in the lead up to Bush v. Gore, which is this is not a case that the Supreme Court's going to take. Like, there does not seem to be an ability to deplete the delusion that many have at the highest echelons of the legal profession, the delusion that the Supreme Court is a legal institution, or that the problems ultimately when you get to this level, it's sort of like you see this in international law on some level as well. You codify laws, but at the end of the day, there have to be people who, there have to be people, because, you know, this is like the sort of the most nascent expression of society. There have to be people who are willing to not abuse the system, right? Like, you can't, at the beginning of any formation of a society, there have to be people who are in a position of power of taking advantage of the system and don't. And we have lost that. That's gone. And one side in this sort of battle is basically still holding on to that idea. Like, how is it that I am not watching on TV some, you know, like state legislatures from New York who are coming out and saying, like, I've drafted this bill. It took me 15 minutes. If you are a gun owner and you own more than 2 guns, somebody can take you to court and sue you all around New York City, or New York State, for that matter. And
it won't even be them that we sue. We're going to sue anyone who knew about you having a gun, anyone who helped you get the gun, anybody who drove you in the Uber to the gun store. I mean, this is the thing, is that, and by the way, you know, we're searching, we're looking for the evidence here. People call in. You can call in to our tip line and tell us if your neighbor has a gun. We want to know who that is. And we want to know anybody that you know that helped them. I mean, that part of it, the sort of spying on your neighbor thing, is one of the creepiest parts of this bill. Now imagine what gun owners would do. And by the way, Sam, I think we all know what the Supreme Court would do if the issue was gun ownership, don't we? Or, you know, some kind of religious liberty. They've been very clear. I mean, they will stop at nothing to protect those rights. So, you know, I think you're right. I think there are going to be test cases in this. There have to be, right? I mean, somebody, I don't know, in California, New York, you know, Washington, Oregon, one of Connecticut, Vermont, you know, somewhere where somebody's going to pass one of these laws as a test case to see what happens and see whether or not, and test this with the Supreme Court. I have a strong feeling that the Supreme Court will find reasons to overturn that on some kind of, this is the sort of logic of this whole thing with them, which is, well, that was too complicated in Texas. It was just too complicated for us. We couldn't understand all that. So we're just going to let it stand, this is the Supreme Court. They exist to untangle complicated legal situations, right? I mean, that's
if they're not going to do it, who's going to do it?
Who is?
If
I know.
Figured out this novel like innovation. That's the whole point of the Supreme Court, right? That's the whole point. Is that if you didn't have new dilemmas that come up as society evolves, you wouldn't need a Supreme Court because everything would be there and we'd all know what the answer was. You could just have a cop come over.
Exactly. And, you know, John Roberts sort of spoke to this he dissented from this. You know, I guess he's the great hope of liberals everywhere, that Chief Justice John Roberts is somehow going to save us. But of course, now we have a 5-4. Yeah, it's 6-3 and 5-4 in the best case. You know, so that's not going to happen. But in his dissent, he did note that his reason to keep the status quo, which would mean to block the law, which was what the plaintiffs were asking the Supreme Court to do, that the reason is that they need to examine what the government is doing with this scheme, right? The scheme of having, vigilantizing the enforcement of a law and taking the state out of it for the explicit purpose of keeping it from federal judicial review. I mean, that was the idea, that they would not have any jurisdiction over it. And of course, the justices knew that. And John Roberts brought that up in his dissent. He said, you know, we should take our time and take a look at this, which, by the way, is, you know, that's why this thing needs to be tested by people in some of the blue states to try and do this, because this is a real collapse in many ways. If they get away with this, this is a collapse of our entire legal system in many ways. I mean, it could be. I hate to make slippery slope arguments, but once you start down this path of saying, well, the state is no longer responsible for enforcing we'll let the citizens take care of that. You've really got anarchy. I mean, that's
what's to stop them from doing this with voting?
Exactly.
What's to stop this from doing? I mean, there doesn't seem
they
to
kind
be
of
any
are.
limiting principle
Well,
here.
they seem to be testing it out. That's why the Supreme Court decided to hide behind procedure, right? Oh, you didn't file this in the exact way, and we didn't have enough time to put an emergency stay or whatever the SCOTUS term is for it on this law, which is them basically just saying, we're going to see how this goes before we rule on this Mississippi law and see if we can kind of curtail Roe without curtailing Roe. And what about this vigilante process? Can we allow that to slide? And I mean, like, talk about the naivete of liberal or center left justices who don't come out of any, organization like the Federalist Society churns them out. There's a complete lack of recognition about what exactly is going on here.
Well, I mean, that's absolutely true. I mean, there does seem to be this. I mean, you see it in the opinions, this sort of flailing around. I mean, Justice Sotomayor said it absolutely. You put a bounty, on this. She called it bounty hunting, which is true. I mean, they weren't holding back. But on the other hand, there's still this idea of the comedy of the court and how, and this is what I think a lot of liberals are clinging to, is this idea that somehow the legitimacy of the court will stop them from doing their worst. Well, I remember hearing, just like you mentioned earlier, Sam, them saying that in 2000, which was, the court will never intervene here because we'll make them look partisan, and they care about their legitimacy. They care about their legacy. They care. They don't care.
No.
I mean, that is not, their legitimacy is based on the fact that they have the power to exercise. They can do what they want. They have virtually unlimited power. Now, the Congress can come up and, like they're talking about now, the Congress needs to go and codify Roe. And I'm going, well, geez, somebody could have thought of that over the last 40 years, but whatever. When Democrats had 60 votes in the Senate, for instance, they could have done that. But that won't solve it, because the Supreme Court can come along and declare laws unconstitutional, and they do it all the time. They have a tremendous amount of power. And I think what just absolutely still galls me is the fact that on the left and the Democratic Party in general has had a tremendously difficult time getting through, making that case that the Supreme Court is hugely, hugely important. It's been up in every election since I can remember, Supreme Court, but it was almost like an afterthought. It was never the central part. Whereas on the right, they made it the central part. In fact,
well, obviously, I mean, I think everybody who listens to this program knows that's, that has been an argument that we've been making here for a long time. But I would also add that in this particular case, not only the right focus on this, on the Supreme Court like a laser. I'm quite convinced that there's an argument that one of the primary factors in Donald Trump winning had nothing to do with Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, but had more to do with Mitch McConnell and Merrick Garland. And that empty seat brought a lot of people out for a candidate that was, subpar, on the Republican side. Certainly, I think it's quite clear that our Democratic candidate was also subpar in terms of a candidacy. But they motivate for those. And the other thing is that this also, abortion, well, first of all, it's a constitutional right. And, it is pretty straightforward as far as these things go. There's a lot of things this court's going to do over the next month to, 40 years that are going to fundamentally alter the way that we have the relationship we have with our government. And, you could see it from the context of abortion. You could see it in the context of, Medicare for all, if you want. You could see it in the context of the EPA being able to regulate the quality of your drinking water. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's going to affect all these things. As a political matter, you and I touched on this a little bit for the second hour on the Peacock show yesterday, but there's two things that, I understand the strategy behind enshrining this in law. that maybe the Democrats didn't want to, like they didn't want to wade into that culture war before, and that maybe there's an argument of like the way you draw people's attention to it if the Supreme Court overturns it is to do this, is to deploy it now, and they should. It's not going to pass. They don't have the filibuster. Manchin's certainly not going to give them the filibuster for the sake of this. But all the Democrats are going to vote for it. But it will put maybe Susan Collins in a tough position, maybe, or maybe give her an out or something in the Senate. But it will be something the Democrats can use in an off-year election to maybe hold the Senate, maybe hold the House, tougher to do. But there are two things, it seems to me, that will motivate, voters, or at least we saw in 2018. One is people voting against Donald Trump and not having the ability to vote against Donald Trump. And so they vote against Republicans as a proxy. And you made this point yesterday that there was a lot of women who came out within days of Donald Trump winning that election. And part of it was because they understood the right to choose an abortion, the right to get an abortion is, hanging in the balance. And those are the voters who made the difference in 2018, it seems.
Absolutely. And in fact, I was writing about this for Salon for this morning, and I went back and looked, and they did polling on what issues people cared about when they came out for the Women's March. And of course, the march was an attempt to repudiate Donald Trump and the Republicans and everything they stood for, from, anti-science to the Muslim ban to everything, torture, all of it. But 40% said abortion was their top issue. And when you look at the footage of that march in 2017, many of the signs were about a woman's right to choose. I mean, there was just no doubt that people understood, and I did. The minute I realized that Donald Trump had won the election, my heart sank, because I knew that Roe versus Wade was very likely over, that it would take a miracle for it to survive with 4 years of Donald Trump, a seat open, and then, I think we knew that there were going to be retirements.
Between Breyer and Ginsburg, the idea of retirement or, frankly, of death was quite high.
Yeah, and we also knew that Anthony Kennedy, and it could have been Kennedy or Thomas, that there was going to be a change over there. And Kennedy was, of course, the swing vote. I mean, this was what really made the difference, was when he retired. And of course, they put in that hack, Brett Kavanaugh. And there was a huge brouhaha about that recall. I mean, there were definitely plenty of protests, but that's because we knew that this was where it was headed, and that it was almost, in the bag, that they were going to be able to overturn Roe versus Wade, or at least chip away at it to the extent that it was basically useless, as we're seeing in Texas, and then we'll probably see with the Mississippi case that's going to come up in the next session. So, this was Donald Trump, the election of Republicans at this point, and this is something the Democrats have to bring home, and hopefully Donald Trump will make that obvious. I mean, yesterday there was Lauren Windsor, who does this sort of, undercover work where she gets these Republicans on record.
Yeah, we played a Ron Johnson one the other day.
Yeah, well, she had one on Jim Jordan last night, and Jim Jordan said to her, "I just talked to the president yesterday. He's going to announce, and he's going to announce imminently." And he's on tape saying that. So, and I think there's no doubt, because Trump has to start to get rid of people like DeSantis and Nikki Haley and others, even his own guys like Pompeo. They're making a move, and he's not going to be able to resist, I don't think, getting them out of the race, or putting them back. So Trump is going to be part of this argument, and that will be helpful, I think, in 2022. And I think you're absolutely right. But also, as we said yesterday, the Republicans have decided they're going to run on culture war issues. This is what they care about. They haven't said much of anything about the infrastructure bill or anything. It's very mild criticism, like whatever. Whatever.
Well, listen, when you got Joe Manchin out there talking about,
who needs it? They don't need it. But they are pushing culture war stuff, and I think that's where they think. And of course, that's Donald Trump's. That's his main appeal is culture war stuff. So the Democrats can't avoid this. And not only should they not avoid that argument, they should go right at it, because there is a culture here. And by the way, we on our side have some culture war, issues we'd like to litigate as well. And this abortion ruling is one of them. There are others as well, like voting rights and racism and the rest of it. I mean, we've got that. So let's do it. Let's go out there and have that argument. Meanwhile, if the Democrats can get Joe Manchin on board, and can I just say one thing about Manchin before we go? Mm-hmm. We need to let Manchin be, the 3.5 trillion that we have in this reconciliation bill that he's now saying he can't vote for because it's too big. It's not really 3.5 trillion. It's much less than that with the offsets and the pay-fors and the regular things that they're putting together. So what they should do, this is my plan, come out and say, yes, we're doing 3.5 trillion, and then later announce, oh no, it's way less than that, which it actually is, and it's all because Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema came in and we negotiated together. They really helped us find our way, and we got the price tag down because of them. Give them their day in the sun so that they can walk around and pretend like they did something.
It's $2.7 trillion. These guys. Right.
It's 2 points that they brought it down to 2.7. And let me just tell you, we realize the error of our ways, and just let them have because they're divas and they need to have this, they want to be mavericks in this whole thing. But in any case, that is not what the election is going to turn on in 2022. I don't believe it is important to do it. You have to do it to help people. But the Democrats have to recognize the field as it is, and the field is going to be culture war, and they need to not stop being afraid of it. Because, by the way, abortion rights, there is majority support for abortion rights.
Fox is afraid of it. Fox is afraid of it. Apparently, Aaron Rupar, who watches that, for his job, I saw he tweeted that within, for the first 15 hours or so of their programming, Fox didn't mention abortion once in the wake of this ruling. They don't want to talk about that.
Yeah,
right. And look at the senators and legislators. Yeah, they haven't been rushing out there, saying how great it is what Texas has done. Yeah. I mean,
I am 100% on board with this. The Democrats have to use what is going to be in their best advantage. The passage of the reconciliation bill. And there was an interesting story in Politico, and it really sort of summed up what we've all noticed over the past couple of months. Nancy Pelosi, the leadership in the House, basically wants to use Medicare savings to shore up the ACA. And then Sanders wants the Medicare savings to expand benefits for people getting Medicare right now, dental, vision. I mean, the dental thing is just seems a no-brainer. Why do we decide it's just such a bizarre. We only cover kidney operations. We don't cover any, spleen or, lung stuff. That's just the way that we do our health insurance. I mean, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And the big fight is going to be over dropping the age. And I am a big proponent of dropping the age, even if it's 5 years, because once you start to expand that pool of people and you basically say, we can do this, I think you're a little bit more off to the races. But this is a big fight that's happening. And so the material benefit, hopefully, will be delivered, at least in some part, by the Democrats in a way that we haven't seen them do before. The question is how do you activate the negative partisanship that wins you elections in this environment? And there's, I think 3 words: Donald Trump and abortion. And that is it. I agree. And that's all. And everything they need has been dealt to them. And it's just a question of how they play that hand at this point. It would be complete malpractice. And I mentioned this, they elevated Lynn Cheney on this January 6th commission. And I think part of that, I hope, is that when the Republicans come and say, you cannot subpoena the phone records of, of some of these, people rioters who came in on January 6th, because it's possible a couple of congressional names might be there, and Trump people. If the Democrats back off that, like, honestly, like, this is not even about ideology, or maybe it is for them. They just don't. But it's just about practice good politics. Make them wear Donald Trump. And if we're lucky, Donald Trump comes out and he announces that he's entering the election prior to the midterms. All right. So with all that said, I want to just touch on, we've got to touch on this. In a matter of days, really effectively the end of the day today, 7.5 million people are going to lose some form of their unemployment benefits. Millions are going to lose the $300 extra they were getting from the federal government. Millions are going to lose all of their unemployment insurance because they were, so-called gig workers. This is a real problem. There is plenty of data that came out that show that the states that rolled back their unemployment insurance, the extra benefits, the extra expansion of it in terms of who gets it, there was no appreciable jump at all in employment. Some studies show that the employment grew at a slower rate. And, it's hard to disaggregate. Those states probably more likely are having a Delta surge, right? Because they have no other things that are going on. And so it's hard to sort of like assess that. Maybe people were like, I don't care, that they've stripped me of my unemployment. Like, I'm not going back and risking my life for this. But it shows that there's just what is driving unemployment right now, and the unwillingness of people to go back to certain jobs, is the deadly pandemic we're in the midst of. Not, I'm living large because I now have the ability to pay my rent or something. And I mean, this is, in months from now, you combine this with the eviction moratorium, we're going to have a serious, serious crisis in this country, it seems to me.
Well, it certainly seems like it's a time bomb, right? Just waiting to go off. I mean, the jobs numbers came out this morning and were much, less than what the economists had been predicting. There had been a huge upsurge in job growth in June and July, and in August it flattened out. It's much less than what they expected. And of course, I mean, I think you're right. This is about COVID. The hospital. I mean, we're seeing, stories every day of hospitals being overrun. People aren't, they had gunshot wound victims in Oklahoma who were unable to get care because the hospitals were overrun with COVID patients. And we all know the reason for that. We don't need to belabor it. We have a bunch of people who are refusing to get vaccinated, and they're going into the hospital and dying, and burdening our healthcare system. But nonetheless, that's what's happening. And the idea that somehow or another you're going to just remove all the, the sort of, infrastructure, the support infrastructure that had been built in really from the beginning of the pandemic, going back to the first, SHARE Act under Trump, that suddenly that's just going to fall off while we're having this massive new surge in COVID seems bizarre to me. Now, the eviction moratorium, we saw what happened with that. Biden and the administration, they were pressured into reinstating it. They said outright, we think that this is going to be overturned by the Supreme Court, but we're going to do it. Maybe we can buy some time, because there was a lot of money sitting in pots around the country in local and state jurisdictions that hadn't distributed the money to people that could have helped them over the hump.
I think we've had like 5 or 7% of the 43 some odd billion dollars has been appropriated at this point.
I mean, I don't know what's happened to the money, but I assume it's just sitting there, but I don't know. Maybe they've spent it on other things, like Donald Trump's Secret Service. I don't even know. But, they were able to get a little bit of time, but I haven't heard, maybe you have, whether or not they were able to speed up the distribution of those funds. I don't know. So now we're having this unemployment thing. And you remember when they first extended it in the original, COVID relief package under the Biden administration, there was a huge brouhaha about the unemployment benefits. They wanted to cut them off in July, I think, and they managed to extend it through to where it is now. So this is a huge political fight, but it's ridiculous because at the time we were thinking that the pandemic was actually coming to a close. If everyone, I don't think, Mitch McConnell said this week, it never occurred to me that people wouldn't get vaccinated. Well, and everybody made fun of him for it. Kind of felt the same way. I didn't know this many people would refuse to get vaccinated. I mean, I just kind of thought that vaccinations were a no-brainer. But obviously I was wrong, and Mitch McConnell and I both were wrong on that. And this is where we are. So you've got to adjust to the new circumstance. And, this political fight shouldn't even be happening. The pandemic is still going on. We're still in the emergency. The economy is reflecting that. We're seeing the job growth fall off pretty precipitously because of it. We're seeing growth, fall off. There's a lot, the fact that we can't be more nimble with these things, that there's no ability to kind of just shift gears if you have to do it, that we're locked into this kind of thing. It's just it's terribly frustrating. And you're right. I mean, this is a time bomb waiting to go off. And, I think that if the Republicans have their way, Jamel Bowie in the New York Times wrote a piece about how the Republicans were consciously trying to extend the COVID crisis for political purposes. I mean, that they're doing it with the knowledge people are dying, but it's okay. And if you look at a guy like Ron DeSantis, there's no doubt. I mean, of course, he's doing it for political purposes. And, if that's the case, this time bomb is going to be set to go off in time for the election in 2022. And they can, they'll be able to deploy the Biden failed at, containing the virus, the economy's in the, in the toilet, and look at what a failure he's been. We have to put the adults back in charge. And, I can see that happening. And I really hope the Biden people are aware of it and are doing everything they can to ensure.
Yep. Well, one hopes so. I guess I don't even see any. I haven't seen any talk of addressing this. Have you?
No, I mean, this is like, it's just happening. It's like one of these things where we're just going, well, that's it. That's the rule, something. And it's like, that's what I'm saying. There's no sense that there's a nimbleness, it's like that. There's just, things seem just really stuck in the gears right now. And I know that they're focusing heavily on the reconciliation bill and on the infrastructure bill. And that's huge because it's going to, it has to do with the budget and the debt ceiling and all the rest of this big fight is coming up. But this is actual real people right now that are going to be in very big trouble when this money falls off, and they're in the middle of a Delta surge. What are they going to do? I mean, what do you do?
And we should say, the Delta right now, anyways, it appears at least, we may have peaked, or at least in some of the most populous states. But I hate to reiterate, there's a lot more letters in the Greek alphabet after Delta.
Exactly.
Heather, always a pleasure, even when we are talking about this massive crap show that is that is our situation.
We're sorry for missing your theme song earlier at the top.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. But I do love my theme song. I do love it.
Maybe we could do something nice for Heather.
Come on, Matt.
For a change. Yeah.
Just I'll ask for money.
We're gonna play you out that way. Heather.
Hey.
Thanks so much. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks for having me, too.
Check out Hullabaloo, folks.
Kind of works to play her out like that.
Yeah, we should play her in and out. Frankly, it's what we should be doing.
I sense you being a little bit shy about playing the theme on the Peacock Hour.
No.
A couple times. So you haven't called for it a few times.
You know, I've forgotten. It's because like
Doing
it's,
too much.
It's all the COVID made me forget about theme songs in some weird way.
Still haven't even got back to drops yet.
I am all in favor of the theme songs.
I think we're heading into the fun half, Sam.
And we are heading into the fun half, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk over there and I'm going to put on the first tank top I have ever worn, maybe ever, and certainly publicly. And we have at this point, wait, what did I say? $50 per flex?
We do have one $50 super chat. I don't know if it was for the occasion, but I do just feel like I should read it out. Ezekiel Mordecai said, "It's Friday. Any conservative anti-vax pundits croak yet today?"
And there you go. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 $50 donations already at the GoFundMe, which you can find the link underneath the YouTube description.
And it's bit.ly/MR A Afghan. That's
really?
what it was. That's what was thrown. Those bit.ly like links, they're so specific because they're so short. So it's everything's lowercase except the A in Afghan.
Sorry about that, folks.
The first A.
Yeah, click on that. So I got a couple of flexes. What did I say? $50? Probably should have made it 100. It's sort of a low bar.
Oh my God, we really have raised.
What is this called when you make it? You're making the market, or you figured out what the market is for.
Yeah, a mark to market or something like that. Oh gosh. Oh my God, I played. My little league team was Jesse Burkett. Yeah. All right, folks. We gotta take
a gun show.
Huh?
It's about to be a gun show.
It's about to be a gun show. All right, we'll be right back after this break.
You are in for it.
All right, folks, 646-257-3920. See you in the fun.
Are you ready?
Who sent us this?
Alpha males are back. Boy is back. And the alpha males are back.
Just as delicious as you could imagine.
The alpha males are back. Boy is back. And the alpha males are back.
Just want to degrade the white man.
Alpha males are back.
I take all of it in my throat.
Alpha males are back.
Snowflakes has what?
The alpha males are back.
You are a madman.
And the alpha males are back.
Oh no, Sam Seder! What a fucking nightmare!
Bring back DJ.
Yeah, or a couple of them. Just put them in rotation.
DJ Denner.
Well, the problem with those is they're like 45 seconds long, so I don't know if they're enough of a break.
That's fucking nonsense. You see white people doing drugs that look worse than normal white people, and all white people look disgusting.
And the alpha males
psych. Fuck them.
Snowflake says what? Snowflake says what?
A hell of a lot of bank. A hell of a lot of bank. A hell of a lot of bank. Okay, I'm making stupid money. Hell of a lot of bank. A hell of a lot of bank.
All lives matter. Have you tried doing an impression on a college campus?
I think that there's no reason why reasonable people across the divide can't all agree with this. Psych.
And the alpha males are back. And the Africans are black African. And the alpha males are black. And the Africans are back.
When you see Donald Trump out there, doesn't a little part of you think that America deserves to be taken over by jihadists? Keeping it 100. can't knock the hustle. Come on, fuck 'em, fuck 'em. Things I do for the bigger game plan. By the way, it's my birthday. Happy birthday to me, Jew boy.
I have a thought experiment for you.
And the alpha males are back. Africans are black. Alpha males are black. Africans are back.
Come on. Come on. Someone needs to pay the price for blasphemy around here.
I am a total pussy.
We got the music? This shirt, incidentally, was a present from Ronald Reagan. That was it? Oh my God. Oh God. This is really, this is, oh boy, this is not comfortable at all. This is, so ladies and gentlemen, this, you two don't take a picture. This is, don't take a picture. I guess at this point it's a little bit, what's going on? Like, whoa. Oh, there we go. I like now I'm like, all right, well, part of it, let me just start this way. So I have a semi-dislocated shoulder.
Okay.
Which I've never talked about because I've not had to show it on camera. I did a show called Guy Island for NBC 20 some odd years ago, and Warren Littlefield said, like, I want more physical comedy from Sam. And I did a flip off a bed. I missed the padding. There was no stunt person there. And I dislocated my shoulder. So you can see that. This is really, I may have to turn off the camera. Like, I can't. This is really.
You can't look at yourself.
It's so much data in that shirt.
I know.
This shirt, incidentally,
Wait,
is
move
from Ronald Reagan. And you'll see it is, of course, Thanos.
Okay, from the back
like,
here.
OBS is sending like 4 gigabytes per second trying to.
All right, so, I mean, do I have to do a flex for each $50 that's already been there? Like, can I hold one for like 30 seconds or something?
Well, I think it's each arm flexing. So if you do both arms, that counts for 2.
What number are we at now? All right. So, oh gosh. Oh, okay. There's a couple right there. There we go. There we go. There's a couple more. It's for good service. All right. So we go. There we go. There we go. All right.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I should tell you, over there is where Matt is sitting, and Bradley is sitting over there. And of course, Emma is over there.
Bing, bing,
all
bing.
wearing,
that counts as the flex.
Sun's out, guns out today. And so there it is. The URL is bit.ly. We should have done this towards the end. bit.ly/MR capital A Afghan.
Right. And all the others are lowercase.
Right. MR Afghan capital A on that. So there it is. So should we continue on with the show?
Yeah, I think we should play number, what is it, 12? I think it kind of goes with the tank tops a little bit.
Okay.
I
can't even look at you.
We'll get a couple more. We'll catch up with some of the flexing that is necessary. I know this whole. I'm staring at this thing and it's really uncomfortable.
You know what I like is that it's swimsuit material.
This is.
Yeah.
Like it goes. You mean that it's made out of swimsuit material?
Right. I mean, it's not like a traditional cotton tank top. I mean, it's
like sheer.
It's right.
It's very sheer. Yeah. No, this is very comfortable.
It's very chemically.
Yeah, this is pure petroleum.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Let's see. We got.
The dye's just gonna permanently seep into your skin.
Yeah.
He's gonna take it off and he's gotta have it thorough.
But I'm also looking at you wearing tank top and you wearing a tank.
Yeah, but I wear
tank
shirts.
tops. Like, it sort of looks like a normal outfit for you.
Yeah, well, for me it's fine.
Brad has got a Knicks jersey on.
He's got a Knicks jersey on. Oh gosh. All right. So.
We do have a $50 super chat from Annie Gonzalez. This should be the new normal, he says.
There we go. That's for you. There you go. There you go. Bing. All right. Now let's. What number was it? I'm gonna pass out in a second.
12.
12. All right.
What about 12?
This is a late entry for Song of the Summer. I came across this yesterday on YouTube.
This is from musician Andre Antunes. This is the. Oh, okay. So this is Greg Lotz. He is the Vision Bible Church pastor. He had remarks on the 16th. And, well, here it is.
But I will be direct. God is positioning you. God is positioning me. God is positioning this church. God is positioning some Samsons. And God's about to bring the whole house down, ladies and gentlemen. These bunch of sex trafficking mongrels are about to be exposed. These bunch of pedophiles in Hollywood are going to be exposed for who they are. I don't care what you think about fraudulent Sleepy Joe. He's a sex trafficking, demon-possessed mongrel. He's on the left. He ain't no better than the Pope and Oprah Winfrey and Tom Hanks and the rest of that wicked crap. God is going to bring the whole house down. I said he's going to bring the whole house down. He's going to burn the whole thing to the ground. He's going to expose all these bunch of pedophiles. I'm telling you, he's going to expose Kamala Harris for the Jezebel demon that she is. I don't care what they think about me. I'm over it. I'm done with it. I'm telling you, it's time to bring the house down. I'll push the whole thing in myself if I've got to. I'll bring it down on my own head. I'm not going to be silent anymore. It's time for God to bring the house down. Everybody like, well, you know, Trump's back. Trump ain't never went nowhere. He ain't back. He's always been around. He's the legitimate president of the United States of America.
That is fantastic, though.
I like how he has to kind of know when the speech is going to speed up or go. Like he has to intimately know it before.
It's amazing use of you know. I'm a big. I wasn't ever a huge metal guy. Never made a huge part of my identity. But I was a big like Mastodon and Gojira fan, and the ability to change like sort of tempos and modes and moods very quickly. Like that's a great use of sort of prog metal.
Yeah, that was awesome. That's fantastic. We may take phone calls today. I'm not going to promise anything.
This is Ronald Reagan's big day.
Blinded by the Right said, I was kind of expecting Sam to spray tan away the blinding white, like John Benjamin spraying away the bald when he did the live show. I mean,
You're not that white now.
I'm not that white. I got a little bit. I made a point of exposing my shoulders a little bit to the sun. I don't feel comfortable with this at all.
You look super uncomfortable.
Yeah, I feel about it.
You look tense.
Yeah, no,
right?
I don't think I've ever felt this uncomfortable. And I've done some very
You've done your
inappropriate things
on
stage, anyways. And this is really right up there.
Charles Raintree with a $50 donation say, "Thanks, Sam. You hunk." So
yeah,
we're almost at $1,000.
It somehow looks worse on camera. I feel in person it might even look a little bit better. You look like just completely
Tense.
Tense. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
right.
I gotta like zoom out just a little bit.
When I see like the full, the head-on image of you, you look like, I don't know, just a shell of yourself.
Yep. All right. Oh boy. Oh well, we busted through the goal. That's great.
Hell yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow, we got a lot of. All right, we got Alex and a bunch of anonymous. Let's see, Janeth, Gregory, Jordan, Greg, Kevin, Colton, Mark, Peter, Cody. This is wow. David, Trist. Let's see. Summer. All right. Let me do like 5 quick ones. A double shot.
Right.
1, 2, 3. Oh God.
Good workout.
Yep. I strained something. I'm hurt. I'm definitely hurt. I definitely
strained that shoulder.
Yep. I'm definitely I'm hurt. Let's take some oh God. Let's do some
Samuel Taylor wants to know where your holsters are for those guns.
Yep, they left them in the closet.
Mr. Darwin said flex Sammy for the Afghan sport. So yeah.
Yep, there you go. Let's see. Gotta go back to, I forgot to turn on the IM thing, so I gotta where are we? Let's see. Bear with me, folks. It's hard to read them this way. I'm going to go backwards. Oh, my God. Needed this so bad. Mo Socialist said, can someone check the levels, or is that tank too loud? Can we Thanos snap half the colors off that shirt? If someone gives 500, will you oil the arms? I'm sorry for asking. Oh, boy. There's one Cyber Manifesto. There we go. The Centennial, so I'm going to pass out. I think I'm starting to hyperventilate. Dang, Sam, didn't realize you were canceling and carry guy. I can see why you gave Crowder a heart attack. So go poll. Is it really A, unbelievable, B, stunning, C, absurd, says Sammy Key. Sam needs some bidet to relieve that tension. If it makes you feel better, Sam, I looked at you and went back to audio only, said Rob Gorka. Thank you. Sam needs some Sunset Lake to take the edge off, says right-hand lefty. This should be the new Friday thing. Sleeveless Fridays, said Coach McGurk. Greased up bicep dance, Sam, says Scoot Lamaloose. I think
I just saw a super chat from Ronald Reagan. Let's see those lats, my guy.
The lats?
That's for $169.
I don't even know where the lats are. Where are the lats? Like right here. I don't have any muscle here. Like, but
he wants you got to flex your back.
There we go. There. Reagan sent me this shirt. That's the only reason why I did that. Sam, I've decided not to watch Suns Out, Guns Out today. There are some things I simply cannot unsee. I understand, Denver Dave. I was kind of expecting Sam. Let's see. Can I get a shofar from my favorite internet micro celebrity, Sam Seder, who's recovering from a shoulder dislocation? Parental guidance is advised for displays of violence and lewd gestures against humanity, says Sam's tabletician. I want Sam to squish my head between his biceps. Yummy, says Jersey Max. Not gonna lie, Emma has some guns too, says Kevin from Philadelphia.
Thank you, Kevin.
We need a group pic of all of you in the tanks. Yeah, I guess we probably should. Transit Rodeo. Oh my, the gun show has commenced. Swoon. Tim Pool is in love. To infinity and beyond. The farmer's tan. Dr. Chaos MD, can I get a shofar, please? I proposed to my partner last night, and she said yes. In addition to the shofar, cynical but humorous quips will also be accepted at this time. Left is best, and you should join the Socialist Rifle Association with guns like that. Congratulations. There you go. Drew says, Emma, do a flex.
I think I did already.
Wow.
All right.
And Ray says Sam looks like one of those turn of the century, 19th, 20th century beachgoers.
Turn of the.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right.
Like
Like if it has to be full body.
Yeah, I guess if you ignore the content of the shirt.
Okay. Kyle is telling me that I am one step away from a Twitch hot tub stream.
We're one step away from an OnlyFans.
No. Wow, we're doing great. Oh my gosh, $3,800. Somebody did $250 donation. 3,800 for. Oh, that's fantastic.
38 or 28?
Wow.
No, 3,800.
Wow, we are like
That's
rocketing
great.
past that goal.
Oh boy, here we go. Let me do a couple more of these for you folks. Here we go.
He's got to like psych yourself up for it.
Honestly, I should be drinking right now, but I've got like 2 or 3 other interviews to do after this, which I'm actually going to change out of this.
Yeah. You got it. Why are you making that noise?
I'm sad.
That's like some Bob's Burgers noise.
All right. Okay. Let's. Are we gonna like clip videos from this?
We were a superpower. We are now a hyper-powered.
People are saying in the YouTube chat, only Sam's. Only Sam's.
Only Sam's. That's the that's my new. Oh yeah. That's where we're gonna go now that we've gotten completely demonetized probably on every single one of our platforms. We're going to.
Gina McGraw with a $50 donation says lip emoji, pickle emoji, droplets of water emoji, and muscle emoji.
I'm not sure I follow that, and I'm not sure I want to. So that's that. Oh,
4,000.
Wow, we doubled it already.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Apparently, Ronald Reagan is already in trouble from his wife for his donation. It's popped up. What's going up? Why are you doing that? What's going on? And I notice he just wrote back, haha, it's a donation through Majority Report for Afghan refugees. Why don't you just write back that I also got Sam to wear a Thanos like sleeveless shirt? When your wife finds that out, you're in big trouble.
Kind of sanitizing, burying the lead a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. All right, well, I guess this is appropriate. Let's see what Dave Rubin is cooking up. He's back, right? Wasn't he? Did he take a little vacation?
A little bit, right? The whole month of August.
Took the month of August, and he's out with a new theory about people who wear masks out and about. Incidentally, Delta is really becoming a little bit of a problem in LA County, incidentally.
He still hasn't moved.
Oh, one policy that David and I did institute over the last couple of weeks since we've been back is when we're walking Clyde, I will say hello and smile and say how you doing to every single neighbor that is not wearing a mask. But I've decided I'm not saying hello to the mask people anymore. And the reason for that is what I've realized over the last couple of weeks is that the mask people are not friendly as a general rule. And of course, there's always exceptions to the rule. But the mask people I would say hi to, and they just ignore you. They're actually using it as an excuse to never.
No,
be
wait a
human
second.
anymore.
Pause it.
And what I
I'm
have found is
here. I mean, I know I may be taking this a little bit too seriously, but didn't he just say that we started a policy over
like
the past few
internal
weeks?
policy with him and his husband.
Right. No, I understand. But they started out not saying hi to people wearing masks, and he's found that they're not as friendly as the people who are unmasked, who he's saying hi to.
Mm-hmm.
So he's finding that the people he says hi to are more friendly than the people he doesn't say hi
I suppose
to.
he would argue that maybe said hi to a few masked people and they gave him a little bit of attitude.
Yeah.
Oh, because they knew who he was.
I mean,
Probably there are people in his neighborhood who don't like him.
yeah, and you're taking it too seriously. He didn't do any of this.
Right, of course. That's
He didn't
true.
do any of this.
That's true, too. Of course. We did it one time. But all right, let's go back.
Excuse to never be human anymore. And what I have found is the non-masked people tend to be friendlier and nicer and happier. So that's what I mean about we're just gonna further split into two worlds. And I think that's okay. I think that's okay. Because the world that I'm gonna help build and that I'm gonna talk about,
Pause it for
that
1
you
second.
guys are gonna be
How
part
about,
of.
I have an idea. What happened to his talking about he was going to leave California and go to some place that's more friendly to people with his perspective, like in Texas? Where does he go to Texas?
Just thinking about Florida too, in Nashville.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird that he's not going. But
Hard to give up that saltwater pool.
it's tough to get the saltwater pool, and it's also,
LA's nice too.
LA, there you go. All right, continue.
Because the world that I'm going to help build and that I'm going to talk about and that you guys are going to be part of is going to be a world that's based on the ideas that we're always talking about here, right? And maybe it feels a little like a civil war. It's not fun to talk about. But at this point, this gets me back to the beginning. I just don't see a way around it. But that doesn't mean it has to be horrible. I don't want people fighting in the streets. And for those of us that are more freedom focused, it's trickier for us because we can build something good and they're going to still all want a piece of it, right? Where we don't really want, like, they can go build your institutions, build your crappy colleges and your stupid businesses built on diversity and build bad products and have the Emmys now and have all of that stuff.
Wait. We gotta go back. I just want people to actually it's very easy. Go back even a little further. It's very easy to listen to Dave Rubin and just write off everything he says because he's a total moron. But for a moment, as he's explaining this to you, try and figure out what he has in his own mind. He's not is he talking about when he's trying to express something to people.
Yeah.
And it's almost impossible to figure out what the hell he's talking about.
Well, a friendly civil war, a neighborly, bloodless civil war.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be fighting in the streets. It's just be they're going to go over here and create their institutions and dumb colleges and dumb businesses. Now, where is over there?
He's going to create some sort of Tomorrowland utopia for libertarian types.
But is he talking about a physically different place, or is he talking about we're just
digital
going to
spaces? We're going to be in our own separate digital realms, perfectly separated from each other, and especially the people that criticize.
But the problem is they're going to come over and try and buy our products, which are going to be better. Which, of course, if you're selling products, you probably
like as many people sort of
want that
wanting to buy those as possible.
Well, no, he's going to bring people over to this new state, and eventually it will make the liberal state obsolete.
But is he talking about? That's what I mean. Is he talking about like a different physical place?
Maybe he wants to secede in California, right?
No, I don't think it's so at all. I think
Gilead.
This is purely like a cult leader, the way they say cults insulate you from any other media. Dave is on the blaze now, so he's not trying this mass pitch. He wants to just sort of continue to monetize the idiots that are still somehow being fooled by him, as if he has some doubt.
The thing I like about Dave is that he's got a vision for the future where we don't have to commingle with those masked type of people.
And the people
but of
who
course,
like diversity,
the
too,
masked type of people are going to try and tune into his show on the Blaze, and Dave is going to keep them out.
And Dave's also going to be talking about those sorts of people as the main thing of content every single day, as in what they're doing and how crazy they're going, because that's all he ever talks about.
Yeah, what would he do if they actually existed in a separate society? He'd have no content to kind of vaguely point at in terms of his
that's going
agreement.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's just such a bizarre sort of I can't even figure out what he's got in his own head, or if it's just some notion of I mean, isn't that what's going on right now anyways? What is it that he I don't know.
Well, it's happening, and I'm going to be paid, so I like it.
And I'm not going to, and I guess, I mean, is there any doubt? Is there any doubt that his real estate agent is wearing a mask right now? The person who sold him that house? Like, where would he buy that house? How would he buy that house?
I have no doubt that he probably just wears them because he doesn't want conflict in his everyday life.
Well, that's what he said a few months
Yeah, he
ago.
said that. He said
Yeah.
that. I wear it anyways after.
If it's going to cause a big problem, I'll put it on.
All right, dude, then there you go.
All right, continue. I'm sorry.
Or more freedom focused, it's trickier for us because we can build something good and they're going to still all want a piece of it, right? Where we don't really want, like, they can go build your institutions, build your crappy colleges and your stupid businesses built on diversity and build bad products and have the Emmys now and have all of that stuff. I don't want any of that stuff.
Wait, go back just a little bit.
But they're going to.
You're going to talk about a guy who is obviously like, think about any context where you say, build your crappy colleges, your institutions, your products and Emmys.
Yeah, that fourth thing isn't necessarily one of like the top things I think about when structuring a new society.
This is Dave Rubin finally figuring out how he's going to overcome the fact that he was never ever had a modicum of success in his original chosen field. Now, I also came from a similar field. We can debate as to whether I actually achieved what people would consider success in that field.
Well, certainly more successful than...
I was gainfully employed until the day, well, even through the time that I entered into this industry. I mean, I still do Bob's Burgers, but not nearly with the frequency that I used to. But Dave was so desperate to make it as a stand-up and would, like, I've talked to, like, reporters who he would email trying to get coverage of him as a stand-up at one point. It's really one of the most uncomfortable conversations you could have with somebody. And somehow the Emmy is what his goal was. Such a bizarre sort of like thing that popped into his head.
Yeah, and it's not even a good award.
Or maybe
he
wanted to be Larry King or something. I don't know what it was. But yeah, go back and let's. It's just so funny how this pops in.
It's never been bad for me ever winning an Emmy.
But at least I'll always have the reason is because people wore masks, and that's why I didn't win the Emmy. Play this.
Wait, this gets me back to the beginning. I just don't see a way around it. But that doesn't mean it has to be horrible. I don't want people fighting in the streets. And for those of us that are more freedom focused, it's trickier for us because we can build something good and they're going to still all want a piece of it, right? Where we don't really want, like, they can go build your institutions, build your crappy colleges and your stupid businesses built on diversity and build bad products and have the Emmys now and have all of that stuff. I don't want any of that stuff. I don't care about that stuff. But they're going to still want our stuff, right? Because we're going to build better products and we're going to build better business.
I don't care about the Emmys. No. I don't care about the Oscars either.
But
keep your Webbies. We don't care.
I don't care about the varsity basketball team.
Oh my gosh. All right, so oh my gosh.
Where are we at?
$5,000.
No, $6,899 raised. Somebody gave $1,000. Wow, that's fantastic.
An anonymous person.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
This is really great. Wow, somebody gave. John Benjamin, look at that, $500. He just wants to see me flex. Anonymous, thank you. Kyle, Diane, Connor, and Jesse, Christopher, Stefan, Neva, Anonymous, Shane, Scott, William, Mark, Paul, Ian, Kyle, Vince, Alexander, Jeffrey, Raymond, Anonymous. That's just in the past 9 minutes. All right, let me do a couple of these. I really do got to steel myself.
So you psych yourself up.
Yeah, here we go. This is like, I feel like it's like I'm doing a bungee jump.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get some music or something?
Yeah, of course.
How about something
Your
like...
stomach's going to drop. Ooh.
Yeah, I got one.
Mission Impossible.
I feel like Pee Wee Herman, sort of like. Wait.
Oh, this is a little more jazzy.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is not a great idea. No, this was a good idea.
Who's laughing now, Sam?
Oh boy.
Hey, what happened?
Oh! Wait, do this.
Okay. You big Coke brother guy. Oh Lord. Oh boy. Ah.
7,500 now.
Can we put a logo underneath for any clips that say it's sun's out, guns out, raising money? So we can explain this.
I'm gonna clip it and say this was Sam's reaction post Steven Crowder.
We gotta get Dorsey to put that on there.
We should just put together a montage to, sexy music, and the caption can just be Sam wanted everyone to see this.
Yeah. This actually makes sense, all things considered. This is happening around the country in terms of like the insanity that's going on. This is a testifier at a Seminole County School Board meeting in Sanford, Florida. This happened yesterday. I think people have seen one iteration of this after another around the country. Emma can't even look at me without making a straight face. We should just say that we're doing a fundraiser. Here is this testifier at the school board meeting explaining the situation. All I can tell you is I got vaccinated, and then this happened. So.
Order. Allow the speaker to finish. Thank you.
The deep state medical establishment wants all of us to be depopulated. I know you guys think that's a conspiracy theory, but it's not. It's a conspiracy fact. They're all in cahoots with each other to depopulate us. They want us divided. They want all of us to fight each other so they can win. This is good versus evil. Evil's not going to prevail. All you've done is awaken a sleeping giant here. Every parent here wants freedom, except maybe some of them that are brainwashed by the deep state media. I used to watch Fox News deliberately. I'm a conservative. I won't even watch that now because Hannity, all the rest of them are true. Let me tell you who I do listen to, which are renowned doctors. Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, Dr. Christine Northrup, Dr. Peter McCullough, Dr. Zev Zelenko, Dr. Lee Merritt, Dr. Simone Gold, and Dr. Scott Atlas. Those are true doctors. They get labeled as disinformation when they go against deep state narratives. Guess what? You can't even find them on Google or anything. So here's where I suggest you go. DuckDuckGo, and you can find...
Wrap up your comments.
Where are we at?
Please wrap up your comments. Your time's up.
How many minutes do I have left?
0.
So anyways, I want all of you to think real carefully, because if you're up for re-election next year, it's going to be very difficult, because when the truth does come out and all the people that believe in masks realize they were lied to and conned, I don't even think they're going to vote for you either.
Thank you. Thank you. Your time is up, please.
So Anyways, I strongly recommend that all of you turn off the fake news, stop living in fear, embrace freedom of choice over fear. Thank you.
So I looked up one of those doctors that he named. I mean, apart from the Hoover Institution guy.
Scott Atlas, who's in the White House being censored.
Yeah, Sherry Tenpenny, a Cleveland-based doctor, falsely told Ohio lawmakers that coronavirus vaccines could magnetize people during an Ohio House hearing on June 8th.
You see how like this anti-vax stuff is just so intertwined with evangelical. Yeah. Oh.
Won't fall off.
Whoa.
Won't fall off.
Wow.
Won't fall off.
Probably just because it's sticking to you because you're so nervous
I
sweating
know.
that you have
like
to
a
wear this
flop
tank
sweat.
top on
Yes,
there.
exactly.
But you see how this is just so intertwined with like evangelical magical thinking here, right? They're evil and we're the good ones and we're standing up to this and this kind of demonic establishment that they've manufactured. And then when he starts listing doctors, right? That's the exact kind of thing that Fox was trying to trigger with talk to your doctor.
Right.
One, they're not going to talk to their doctor. Two, a lot of people don't have insurance or the ability to speak to a doctor. And if they do, not exactly sure if a visit about should I get vaccinated is going to be covered. And they also may have doctors who are going to like fit into their ideological mode there. But they just like it makes it seem like you have to talk to your doctor about this incredibly serious medical decision, when in reality, the people who this would affect, if they need to speak to their doctor, they're already speaking to their doctor about every treatment because they're seriously ill. It's like a tiny sliver.
This is what he said about Hannity. I found really interesting too, because the Republicans are feeding this because they want it to be they want the 2022 version of 2010, which was people going to ACA meetings, healthcare meetings, Tea Party people going to healthcare meetings. They want it to be the same thing. The problem is, I think, is that any utterance of like you should get vaccinated or you should wear a mask becomes completely verboten for these people. And so, we should have Democratic candidates right now.
Yeah.
Saying to these, questioning Republican candidates. Now, maybe there's an opportunity for some primaries too to happen because you want one of these lunatics to be the Republican candidate. I think it's also possible that the country is just so effed that that's basically it.
Right.
Just a reminder, we're doing a fundraiser.
Cut this out, Dorsey.
No, we're doing a fundraiser for 3 organizations that help Afghan people resettle. And one is the Afghan Diaspora for Equality and Progress. One is International Rescue Committee. And the third is PARS Equality Center. They all do different things. We have links up at the GoFundMe site. You can get to the GoFundMe site by going to bit.ly/, all lowercase letters, MR, uppercase A, the rest lowercase, Afghan. So it's bit.ly/MR Afghan, and the A is a capital letter. We also have it under the YouTube.
I tweeted out the link along with some photos of you. And
you did not tweet out photos. Oh my God.
What are you talking about? We're broadcasting it.
Wow, gosh.
We're at $8,500, by the way.
$8,500. And then also we've got a bunch on Super Chat too. I don't know. We don't have a tally there.
I also just want to just mention, because the Washington Post wrote about this yesterday, about the Afghan refugees. They're technically not refugees. They're arriving as humanitarian parolees, and so they don't have the ability to, they don't have an easy path to legal U.S. residency and traditional benefits, unlike other refugees. They'll only get a one-time $1,250 stipend, and they're not going to have the medical and mental health safety net, which is threadbare as it is for traditional refugees, that others wouldn't have. So this is super important just to give Afghan refugees some sort of safety net here, because it's I don't understand why this is the designation, but that's what the Biden administration is doing.
And the PARS offers legal assistance for individuals in Afghanistan, and there is there's expenses. I think it's like $500 and some odd for an application. People don't have that money. In fact, maybe we can get Ronald Reagan to call in and do so, to tell us about parolees. He can give us a better sense of what's happening there. And we'll hear from Ronald Reagan about this. Let me read some IMs. Kowalski from Nebraska. Dang, Sam, didn't realize you were canceling. Oh, yeah, you already said that. Dave just read Atlas Shrugged for the first time and is trying to describe Gat's Gulch. Cosmo Possum. Centennial celebration of the Battle of Blair Mountain is underway in West Virginia. Kim Kelly is there. Maybe worth pinging her to see if she'd like to talk about her experience there. Kim Kelly is an independent journalist. She's written in The Nation about the United Miners strike that's going on in Brookwood, Alabama. They've been striking since April, I think it was, or prior to that. 1,100 miners there. And Shane from Canada.
I just want to say quick, we'll be doing a Battle of Blair Mountain with the historian Charles Keeney next week on Left Reckoning.
Check that out, folks. Let's go. All right. Calling from a 509 area code. Look what you did.
Hey, this is Ronald Reagan.
Yes, I know. I assumed it was.
Oh. What's going on?
Hi, Ronald Reagan. Congratulations. Do you feel good now?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm more of a newsletter guy these days.
You've been reading the AM Quickie newsletter, is that right?
Yeah, I appreciate Corey's. It's real quick, gets to the point.
Yeah.
So anyways, I appreciate what you're doing. You look great.
Thank you.
I really like the rear lat spread. I thought that was, it took you a while to find where the lats were, but once you did, I thought you nailed it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I appreciate the shirt. This is compliments of Ronald Reagan, ladies and gentlemen. You can see it's the Thanos shirt. There it is.
Yeah, how did you find this, Reagan?
I just Googled Thanos tank top and one of those weird internet websites where you can buy all kinds of stuff.
Oh, it seems like it's sold at a Spencer's or something like that.
Just can't believe that your family allows you to do things like this.
Well, I donated $169 to YouTube because that's how it shows up, and it immediately set off a fraud alert, and my wife started frantically texting me like, we're being hacked. I think she thought we were either being hacked or I was into some weird porn thing, which was probably going to, worse for her. Anyways, TMI.
Right.
What was I going to say? Oh, so about the parolee situation, Emma makes a really good point. So they will presumably be coming in and being placed in removal proceedings where they can present their asylum application. And this is what, most of my Mexican clients go through. It's a real headache. The very soonest they could, get a work permit might be 6 months after they arrive. And then they're probably going to be dealing with 3 to 5 years of removal proceedings and going to courts. And in those proceedings, they're not provided with attorneys or legal representation. All the proceedings are carried on, obviously, in English. The application for asylum's in English. The court doesn't provide interpreters or anything like that. So the money you're raising is really important, and we need to keep pushing the government to parole as many people as they can. So.
And is there any mechanism for the government to provide resources to parole these people, or is it just going to be like, you need to have people need to wear, shirtless T-shirts and raise money for these folks?
Yeah, so some of the money that's being raised is for the parole application, which has a filing fee. I think it's over $500.
It's like $575, I think it was.
Right, and don't tell me my business, but you're right. And the I think it's the Attorney General basically the government could issue a broad fee waiver if they wanted. There is a fee waiver application, but it's convoluted and gets rejected for simple mistakes and things like that. So there's definitely a way they could pave the way to make things cheaper. And even like the issue with the work permits once they get here, that was one thing that caused huge headaches with the Trump administration, because he was trying to basically take away parolees' abilities to get a work authorization after they arrive. The idea was we would disincentivize asylum seekers if they heard back home that actually once you get here you can't work and life is terrible. So that was the whole point behind that policy. So there's definitely things that the current administration could do to just sort of facilitate getting here. Obviously, that's the number one thing. And then once they're here, just making it easier, not for them to, get Obama phones or whatever, although that's probably a good idea, but just like the ability to go get a job.
Right.
It has major obstacles that could be cleared. So, yeah.
And how easy would it be for the administration to reverse those policies? I mean, I'm thinking about like the Remain in Mexico and the, argument by the Supreme Court that like you didn't have sufficient cause, to change this policy.
Yeah, I mean, some of that stuff I think would be pretty easy to roll back or easier to roll back, but as that, that case is showing, just like a lot of times we had to use the judiciary to stop some things like the Muslim ban.
Right.
It turns out there's more conservative jurisdictions where these weird challenges are being brought, and the Supreme Court is, surprise, like right there with having their back. So I don't know specifically how each of those things would be handled in court, but I think a lot of them would fly under the radar and wouldn't cause so much of a disturbance, I don't think. I mean, certainly like fee waivers or, facilitating the work authorization process for parolees, that should be pretty simple.
And then you have the Biden administration probably still, although maybe they're over this by now, the fear of Tucker Carlson complaining that there's been, 200,000 Afghans are coming and they're taking all the jobs and changing the electorate.
Right.
Well, the one thing that just drives me crazy is at the same time, we have all these, the traditional fear mongering of our immigrants. We're about to pass a farm worker bill that in reconciliation, it's part of this reconciliation thing, that basically amounts to like indentured servitude, and then also an increase in the number of temporary agricultural workers in the future. And in other words, like we have an agricultural industry that's saying like that's desperate for workers. And then we also have people who are desperate to get here. And it drives me crazy that we can't just like align these things. But that's where we are, right?
And well, the value of having the temporary workers in there is that they don't have the same protections if they were citizens. They don't have the same opportunity to agitate for higher wages if they were citizens. And they're still very much at the, at the whim of all sorts of forces that they have no control over.
Right. That's right. And actually, if you read there's like some FAQs from the farm worker, different farm worker or not farm workers, but farmer associations, and all of their concerns are like, if we get papers for our current workforce, aren't they all just going to leave? And then the response is, well, don't worry. Built into this farm worker bill is a provision that they have to keep working in the fields for an additional 4 to 8 years to get permanent status. And so that's exactly right. The farmers have this concern that as soon as we legitimize our workforce, they're going to go do something else.
Right.
Or they're going to take a higher paying job. And so we had to quell their fears by forcing the farm workers to stay in the fields for an additional period of time. Anyways, that's sort of a sidetrack. But the point is, they're not going to be stealing jobs. There's plenty of opportunities for people in this country to, make a living and support their families, whether it's in agriculture or anything else. And so.
Well, Ronald Reagan, thanks for calling in, telling us about the Afghan who they are sort of refugees, I guess, in a euphemistic way or a colloquial way, but they are technically will be entering this country as parolees, which is a much more arduous process in terms of both getting in terms of resources that you need, in terms of sustaining yourself.
That's right. Yep. Thanks for taking my call.
I appreciate the call and the shirt, sort of. Calling from a 201 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Happy Friday, folks. It's Hunter Biden calling from Washington, D.C. How are you?
Hunter Biden, thank you so much for calling in. That's doing great. How you doing?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. I always got a glass pecker in my pie hole and a vibrating one in my bee hole.
Yeah,
I'm chilling.
That's great. Glad to hear it.
As an aside, I thought it was going to be Suns Out, Buns Out today.
You thought it was going to be what?
Oh, it was Suns Out, Buns Out. I don't know.
No, Suns Out, Guns Out, not buns.
I wore the wrong pants. Sorry.
All right.
But
yeah.
I just wanted to. I know it's a long time coming. It's been 8 months, but I really wanted to thank you guys for all your support. It's support from you, and that really propelled us into the White House. And sorry, I'm getting a little choked up.
Well, I mean,
No, I mean I'm literally being choked right now. On the phone. Jeez.
Who was choking you?
Don't worry about it.
All right. Well, so
it's my day off.
It's your day off. Yeah. I understand. From what?
I did painting yesterday.
You did.
How much did it go for?
Well, I'm going to sell that bad boy for $200 large. I'm switching career.
Right, you're a painter now. And
do you know who? Do you know who bought it?
I was told that it was a. See, they're not allowing me to know, but I get thank you cards, from all over the world for, showing them hanging in various, gold-plated rooms, and it's really special. But I also wanted to call and talk about, as the first boy, right? I am now the first boy of the United States.
Ugh.
Yep.
And, as first boy, I am starting an initiative out of my office. We're going to do good out there.
Yeah.
And, in our attempts to fight racism, sometimes we forget that one of the most pervasive dynamics of racism is stereotypes. And my office is going to be addressing one of the most insidious stereotypes that has been in our culture for far too long.
Which is that?
And, about how Irish guys have small Johnsons. I'm going to be touring the country with Liam Neeson, Colin Farrell, Michael Fassbender. I've got to call into Beto O'Rourke, so I'm waiting for a pic from him. But he's tall and skinny, so you know. And we're going to fight this because it's not true. It's an ugly rumor started by the Italians because they're jealous of us.
Well,
and we're going to take this across the board. And you know what? It's not going to be easy. It's going to be long and hard.
Yeah. Well,
you know, it's a sticky situation.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Hunter Biden. Thank you for calling in, and wish you good luck with that initiative project. That's well done. Yeah, there you go. Wow. That's what happens. That's what happens. You wear a tank top and all hell breaks loose. Josh Herzl doing a $50 donation once. I'm losing it, bro. I mean, we are over now. We're over $11,000.
Wow. And that's not even counting the super chats.
That's not counting the super chats, which so
time to flex.
We're doing great. Let's see.
Well, you just put out a workout video.
It's for the Afghan parolees.
The last.
Like literally all of this flexing comes from seeing Pee Wee Herman.
I feel proud of myself about that.
All right, I think we're good.
I knew this day would come, but I didn't expect it so soon.
Oh God! So glad we did this on a Friday and not a Thursday. It would, with Brandon, it would look a little like super embarrassing.
Yeah.
To try and do anything like this.
Right.
Clown Shoe Mike, can someone check the levels, or is that tank top too loud? Oh yeah, we already did that. I literally spit out my drink watching Sam flex while saying I'm sad. Let's see. Bob Carmody, that's the latest collection from the Fred. That's the latest from the Fred Flintstone collection, isn't it? Amanda's Huge and Kiss. Suns out, buns out is the only way Sam's going to get any money from this commie. Buns are best. MIDI doctors. No one can ever unsee this, Sam. Sneering atheist. Call the vet. Sam's pythons are sick. Drew, Milo will never let you live this down. Your ex-wife is going to see this, yeah. Geez, oh my God, Sam, that shirt is so outrageously hideous that John Cena couldn't make it look good. Where's the Reagan phone call into the show? Oliver Wendell Holmes, I had no idea Richard Simmons had a political reaction. That's what I keep seeing now. That is exactly what it is.
Need some roller skates.
Oh gosh. Crowder Coward, kiss the biceps. I did. Kilo, $52 for a trap flex. What is it?
The lower side back by your obliques.
Yeah, I don't think I have those. Colin from Nebraska. Shout out to Riley, Pat Becca, and Salty Wiener. Bobby D. A new genre called Evidentical. Jersey Max, I want Sam to, let's see, Hassan better be wearing a tank when I switch over. It's always snowy in Ottawa. I'm calling on the letter hack to make a Guns Out Sam comic panel. I would pay money for a poster of Sam holding the oversized commissary key in the classic He-Man pose. By the power of Brooklyn.
Hold up that globe.
Yeah.
This is very Thanos. Wait. You've got the world in the palm of that hand.
Are you playing?
I was. It's frozen. Oh, there we go.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yep.
It's honestly going to take me. Thank God we're doing a long weekend because it's going to take me a long time to recover from this.
You're going to be drinking.
DMV listener,
forget.
dear God, if there was ever a time we needed Michael, I know he would be dying right now with laughter. Coach McGurk, Sam showing off the guns to ladies. That's the constitutional carry right there. Really cool.
No, Sam Seder, what a fucking nightmare.
It's really more of a sleeveless blouse. Hope Michael's looking down. He'd have loved this. 70s porn music, please. Twitter GIF montage. Tim Caucus, drinking apple cider, the best gun show on YouTube. This is the best way to end summer. Artifact 01. Why am I thinking of Richard Simmons? Yeah, you're not the first person to say that.
Just push your hair up a little bit more.
I'm both like sort of traumatized and just embarrassed in a multitude of ways. Chuck Grassley, can't believe you all sold out to the military industrial capitalist. This is the most pro-tank, pro-gun show I've ever seen. DJ Cold Case, the MR Discord community supports Sam's right to bear arms. Thank you. Uncle Junior, stop copying. Uncle Junior Soprano, stop copying my style. Reese's Pieces, this tops Ben Shapiro's flexing tenfold. Oh no, my friend Charlie saw this. I don't know how that happened.
Ben Shapiro flexing?
He just said, just turned on the show. Is it in OnlyFans? Now, we are raising funds, Charlie, for Afghan, essentially refugees, but parolees coming to this country. We are going to split the proceeds equally between three organizations: the Afghan Diaspora for Equality and Progress, the International Rescue Committee, and PAR's Equality Center. And we have raised now, I would imagine over $13,000, at the very least $12,556. But we have a bunch of super chats too. You guys are really awesome. This is really great. I'm almost happy I did this. Jer McLean, best casual Friday ever. Republican wrestling coach, you need to take calls today. Calling from a 204 area code. Who's this? 204 area code. Who's this?
Hi, Sam. It's Mike from Winnipeg. How are you?
Mike from Winnipeg. I'm okay.
I just wanted to say thanks, first of all, for the new Tinder pic on my profile. I'm just going to Photoshop my face on there, and I don't think I can lose.
Check my Twitter for some GIFs I'm retweeting of everybody making these things.
Oh, God.
Anyways, long-time listener, one topic I wanted to call in about for a while now. You had a caller call in a while back and talk a bit about plant-based eating and heart disease. And I'm just wondering if plant-based eating is something you guys have explored from a left perspective and having someone on to talk about, because I think there's a lot of aspects to it that can affect the left in a number of positive ways. I kind of take the approach myself, having been doing this for the last 4 years, where I kind of switch my diet up, that I'm not like a zealot, like the vegans who say anytime you eat meat, you're performing murder, it's cruel, anything like that. But the more you look into plant-based eating, and if you talk to people who know, it has a lot of great ramifications for, first of all, health. And I mean, if you talk about an issue that's affecting you guys down there, that just makes me sick that you guys don't have Medicare for all. But the fact that, healthcare prevention is just one way where it's, I think, something you can get a lot easier than actually trying to get something like Medicare for all in place anytime soon. And I mean, if you look at what plant-based eating can do from a health perspective, a lot of the chronic diseases that everyone's suffering from that they can't afford pharmacare for, that they can't afford, they can't afford their medicine, they can't afford to go to the doctor for, diseases like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, your number one killers, a lot of this stuff can be reversed, and this is scientifically proven by a diet like this. And I just wonder if you have considered having someone on to discuss this, not to mention the environmental impacts, right? I mean, you've got a huge change if there's less, resources devoted to meat and cattle raising and stuff like that. And, I'm with Matt on the, I know he's brought up before that, us making individual changes isn't going to fix the problems with, the big companies and corporations who are the major polluters there. But if our attitudes and our diets change, that's going to kind of force a change in that regard as well.
Yeah, I think there's some...
And I'll just...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say I think a really great guest for you guys to have on to discuss kind of the far-reaching effects. And I don't know what his politics are, but I know that everything he does is very medically sound, backed up by actual studies, multiple studies, et cetera, is a gentleman by the name of Dr. Michael Greger. He's got a website called nutritionfacts.org, and I think it'd be great for you guys to look into it and potentially have him on as a guest just to discuss all the, all the benefits of it and how it can affect people. I mean, everything from food deserts and more affordable food, because plant-based eating is way more affordable. I mean, there's just so many aspects that it touches. Anyways, that's what I wanted to say. My piece out there. Big fan of the show, guys, and I'll let you go to discuss. Thanks again.
Appreciate the call.
Thank you.
It's been a long time since we had, it's been years since we've had somebody on to talk about that specifically. I mean, I think, from an environmental standpoint, from a climate change standpoint, from a, it makes a huge difference from a health standpoint. Certainly, the less, meat you eat, I think the more you're going to avoid a lot of health issues. In fact, Milo and I were talking about this the other day, but we, I have made and encouraging my kids to make, to have less meat in our diets. I mean, we're picking a couple of days where it's like no meat on those days and minimal meat on other days. But yeah, I think, at one point we should do that. I mean, from a policy standpoint, the big thing, it seems to me, would be to cut back on our subsidies for corn, and which sounds counterintuitive, but the corn that we grow in this country is all, not all, but the vast majority is all for livestock. And the promotion of factory farms and it was a decision by the Commerce Secretary under Nixon to make food cheaper in some way.
I applaud people making dietary choices. I don't eat beef very much at all anymore, and I do the meatless days. And I like what the caller said about, it's not you're not trying to sell somebody on going entirely vegan, but really being conscious about cutting back, I think, is important. I think as a point of emphasis for a political show, I think it is more important to talk about the big polluters and egg policy and stuff like that. But as far as individuals, I don't eat burgers and steak as much as I used to at all anymore. It's been a while for health and environmental reasons.
I have not had a meat hamburger for, I don't know, a couple of years. I had my first Impossible Burger, and I was like, I don't know the health. I don't know that it's like an Impossible Burger necessarily, or a Beyond Burger, or whatever those are necessarily healthier in some respects. I don't know. But I was like, I don't miss the burger when I eat this, right. And so it's like I'm done. I'm done with the hamburger, and I don't have steak that often.
A good way to start, and this is kind of what I've been doing, if you're like not into meatless days, or it's hard for you to do that right away, is just have one meal a day that has meat in it. That's something I've been trying to do to wean myself off of meat, and I know my
who has multiple meals a day with meat.
Well,
I used to. Not breakfast, but lunch and dinner. I would need meat pretty much every single.
Oh my God.
A sandwich, or right. I mean, and I basically only eat chicken at this point too. But yeah, no. I mean, there are multiple ways to do it, and what feels good for you. Like that. I just liked having chicken sausage in the morning to get myself some protein, but you know, what are you gonna do?
I think it would be very hard for me to give up eggs. That is like
you do love eggs.
Eggs are the staple of my diet.
I love eggs too.
But everything else certainly doable. Somebody just IM'd, any thoughts on Fran Drescher becoming the new SAG-AFTRA president? I didn't realize she had won. I was a Matthew Modine supporter voter.
What is this?
This is the SAG-AFTRA union presidency.
Oh, I like Fran Drescher. She's cool.
Yeah, but from a union standpoint, their perspective is not so good.
Okay. You can tell me later, maybe.
Yeah. Calling from an 847 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Is it? Hello?
Hello? Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Josh from Kansas City, Missouri.
Josh from Kansas City, Missouri. What's up?
I just want to talk about something that Emma talked about, I believe, last week, about charter schools and I guess just sort of my personal experience with them.
Okay.
Me and my family, we moved to Hawaii, and the public schools over there are really bad. So we ended up having me go to a charter school for a couple of years, and the fun fact was 2 years afterwards, I found out it closed down, not from losing funding or any of that. It closed down because they got closed by the state because they had huge corruption issues. The principal, the vice principal, they were going on like international trips and then just saying, yeah, we're just recruiting people. So it's that goes into like the charter schools are really just, you know, a way just to make some money.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I think that's important too that I don't recall you guys talking about are with charter or private schools that are religious institutions that are also functioning as not just religious schools but also political schools. Because after that charter school, I didn't go back to public. I went to a private Baptist school that was really cheap compared to the really expensive ones that President Obama went to, like Punahou. And that place, I have never heard more crazy, insane shit watching that or being there. Like, even compared to some of the stuff like Alex Jones is saying. Like,
well, let me put it this way. I mean, I wouldn't send my child to a religious school, but the issue, the distinction between charters and parochial schools, it seems to me, is in terms of like a function of government support. I mean, the problem with charter schools, broadly speaking, is that that they take away funding from the normal public school system. They do so in most instances, it depends on which state you're in, with virtually no oversight on how that money is spent. They also do so without having the same restrictions. I mentioned this the other day, that schools are obligated to provide an appropriate education for all students. So if you have students who have learning challenges, if they have health challenges, the school must accommodate them. Charter schools usually find, either explicitly or they find subtle ways in which to weed those people out. And there's not any evidence that charter schools as a whole perform any better than public schools. Some charter schools do really well. Some public schools do really well. It's a function of really charter schools in many respects sort of weeding out not just the students, but the parents that are associated with it. And then as a function of the lack of oversight, you do have a lot more stories of corruption at charter schools than you do at public schools, simply because there's not the same opportunities. When it comes to private schools, as long as they're not being funded by the government, which, you know, one could argue that just in their sheer tax break, you know, parochial schools often are, but then I have less of an issue with that. I mean, as a matter of public policy. Personally, as a parent, I I imagine that there are circumstances I could imagine sending my child to a private school, but I broadly, it's not. I don't think of it as something that, certainly not something I would do, because I think being part of public schools, being part of like the citizenry. But appreciate the call. Thanks, man. Good story.
Yeah, level.
Oh, all right. Did I miss the Reddit and TikTok news story about the abortion ban? Yeah, should we show that? Do we have any audio about that or no? Just the so apparently there was a I don't know, what would you call it? Like a tip line.
Yeah, for these the Texas bounty system.
Yes, and it was the organization that had set it up was that it set up this tip line essentially, and you guys can find the story, and it's in the Guardian, has a copy of it. There was a tip line. And people started flooding the tip line with fake reports. There was apparently over 700 fake reports of the governor, Greg Abbott, getting an illegal abortion. And TikTok basically, here, play some of these videos here, guys. Yeah, here it is. This is pretty
why
great.
they're better than us.
And they loaded Shrek memes, and my wife aborted a baby 4 weeks ago into her pregnancy without consulting me. Shrek, and there was a lot of. They just went big on this on TikTok. Play a couple of these videos. It's pretty awesome. ProLifeWhistleblower.com was the tip line site. Ugh. And Twitter, TikTok, all of them. Here, play one of these.
All right, y'all, we're going to mess with Greg Abbott and all the other idiots that decided to outlaw abortion in Texas after 6 weeks. Thank you so much to my friend Olivia for coming up with this absolutely brilliant idea. If you go to prolifewhistleblower.com, which I'm going to put in the caption down below, you can see that Texas has anonymously set up a system where you can report people who have gotten abortions. Wouldn't it be so awful if we sent in a bunch of fake tips and crashed the site? Like, Greg Abbott's butt stinks. Spelt wrong, of course, because he deserves zero respect. How did you obtain this evidence? Smelt it from here. In California. The doctor responsible, Dr. Stinkbutt. For the geographical information, just pick a random place in Texas, random city and zip code. And are you currently elected to public office? Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. Yay!
Now, the public office thing is interesting because they cannot respond to that. I think the reason why they asked that question is because they want to make sure that there is no legal action that can be taken if a public official does that. But interesting. I wonder if there is a public official out there who could actually call it in just as a way of providing some type of a means in which someone could, I don't know if that would work, but all right, a couple more IMs and then we're getting out of here. We're done with the phone calls, folks. Robo Gorka, John Benjamin just wants to see you get the baby oil out. Doodles, Dave is being transgressive and then expects people to treat him warmly. Attorney Andrew, one thing people don't truly understand about the Supreme Court is that they can decide whatever they want and write whatever they want. If the justices are brazen enough, they could repeatedly publish opinions that flat out say your rights are denied, followed by gifs of the jerk-off hand motion. The only reason they write out their opinion is to provide a facade of legitimacy. The pure curiam decision on the Texas abortion ban is exactly that. It's the court saying, F you, buddy, shut up and take it. Yet they still color it in some bullshit about the requirements for emergency injunctive relief. At its core, there is nothing checking their power and authority outside of an overwhelming popular will to the contrary. Indeed. Jake the teacher. A new school board watch list was launched by Turning Points USA. They want folks to stand up against Marxist teachers and anti-American curricula. Any support for Discord channel to yank their cranks? Folks in the Discord can maybe figure out a way in which we can do that.
Yeah, let me know. I'll publicize it.
Animal psyche, being actually magnetic would be so cool.
I know.
Folks, just a little bit of housekeeping. On Monday, it's Labor Day. We're going to play our traditional Labor Day podcast. I don't think we have a video offering for that day. Tuesday is Rosh Hashanah. I am out, but we will have a new interview. Emma's on vacation next week, so we'll have a new interview that we're going to put up on Tuesday, and then back live on a Wednesday. We got to tell Dorsey that. I don't even think we told Dorsey. I screwed up in that regard. Our total now is over $13,000 on at least on the GoFundMe, and $13,155, and we have
hundreds more on the super chat.
I would imagine at least, and
yeah,
we're gonna check that out. That's awesome. You guys are just awesome. I'm really just proud of you guys, and it'll make it a little bit less painful as I look back on this. Let me do a couple more IMs, and then I'll do a couple more flexes, and we'll get out of here. Singular phenomenon. Seeing so much dumb Joe Biden Taliban memes lately would have made for a great Michael Brooks character, Talibiden, or if you will, Buja Biden. Love the show. Left is best. That's pretty good. Trash digger, more music for the flexes, please. Right hand lefty. Can't wait to hear stories about Sam kids sharing clips of this on TikTok. Fadeaway J. Sam, thanks for the new pic for my Tinder account. Photoshop. Oh, somebody read that already. Sam's butt joint. I'd like to see you join the ranks of jacked up lefties with Hassan and Felix. Get on that HGH stuff. Yeah, I don't think that's going to quite happen. Governor HVAC, Sam and Emma need to recreate the epic handshake meme so we can immortalize those pythons. What is the handshake meme?
Like the
It's like a black muscle man and a white muscle man
doing
clasping arms.
This
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't really want to touch you.
Yeah, no, I understand. I don't. Yeah, I think it's best. Dr. Chaos MD, with Dave's Rubin stance on building codes, I recommend no one enter or be near anything he builds, let alone an entire world. RoboCat, looking forward to all the viewer-created content that will come from today's gun show. I'm about to have a panic attack. Freedom Poutine, nice to know what half the memes on my Twitter feed are going to be for the next month. Koosh, SO Sam for the pro-gun proletariat propaganda. And Comrade greeting card, Sam, my son was born last Saturday. I was hoping you could mispronounce his name, Caden, and maybe a shofar. Well, Kaiden. Keaton. There you are. Welcome to the world, buddy. Sorry. And let's see. Take a couple more here, and then we'll get going. Teacher Lauren. Oh boy, charter school call. My blood pressure just shot up. Happy Friday to you and those guns. Let's see. Take cares better dogs. Need to do the dab that Emma told him never to do again. I'll do that as we close it out.
Yeah, we'll both. I'll do it too.
And Torque. Oh boy, here we go. This is too much. Sam and crew, on the Texas anti-abortion, have you seen any commentary on the practical legal nightmare that might arise from people starting an industry of scammers suing random people in bad faith to extort settlement money? Yeah, no kidding, right? Fairchild, I'm broke. Thanks for the free gun show. And the final IM of the day. Penny from New Mexico. Curious as to why you and Digby talk about voter turnout being helpful for upcoming federal elections amidst Republican voter suppression laws and redistricting. Well, I think that is redistricting and voter suppression exists, period. I think we can still have a higher turnout. There's a lot of people who are registered who don't turn out for midterm elections. And that's why.
Yeah, we have voter suppression last time, and also federal elections turn people out.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be, we're going to see more, it's going to be harder for people to vote without a doubt. But that's why you want more voter turnout, and particularly in a midterm election. All right, folks, that's all our time for the I am and the phone call portion of our show. And if we get a little bit of music, we will play out. Thank you so much. We have raised so much money for these folks. You can go to our podcast or our YouTube to get the link. It is bit.ly/MR Afghan with the A capitalized. bit.ly/MR Afghan with the A capitalized. And here we go. Let's start with the dab, shall we?
No, do it simultaneously. You gotta go.
Wait, 1, 2, 3. Ready?
Wait.
1, 2, 3. There we go. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, come on, man. Politics has gotten just so out of whack.
That's kind of, I don't know if that kind of, that's amazing.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
We can cut out anytime. We're gonna have to keep.
I take all the strength I got to get to where I want, but I know somehow I'm gonna get there. I wasn't looking when I just got caught between the truth